Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our session for In the Know Tips and Tricks for Evolve 365. We wanted to start this weekly series to give some simple and easy tips that anyone can go back to their desk and quickly implement. As always, we know your time is valuable, so we're going to keep the sessions to no more than 30 minutes and sometimes even less. We are pushing out our topics monthly, so you just have to sign up once for the series instead of 4 or 5 times. And if you ever miss any sessions, you can always find the recordings on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Planet Technologies. And of course, if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. So a little about me, I'm Tanya Kaiser, and I'm your host for these sessions. I'm a longtime Microsoft geek and SharePoint nerd. One of the things that I get really excited about is helping people learn new skills, especially when it comes to the Microsoft Productivity Suite. If you have any questions, again, you can always reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. And a little bit about Planet. Planet has been providing expert support in the Microsoft world for over 18 years. We offer full services for the entire Microsoft Cloud and Productivity Suite, including advisory, deployment, and training services, mobile application development and solutions, and strategic business consulting, including technology, compliance, and security guidance. So now that our intros are out of the way, we're going to kick things off. Today we're going to look at some of the advanced features in Microsoft Word around formatting to make sure that your documents always look the way you want them to. So within Microsoft Word, every document that you create is based on a template, but you can go ahead and modify that template to have the exact formatting that you want. Most blank templates are based on a document called normal.dotm. That's a document template that's macro enabled, but you can, again, update it with your own settings, and multiple settings can be changed, everything from the margins on your documents to fonts to colors. And if you ever run into an issue where your changes just aren't what you want them, you can always restore that original template if needed. So one thing that people often wonder is, where exactly does this normal template live? So this is one of the things that I recommend to people right away is just knowing where your templates are at. So if it's a regular standard Office installation, this is going to be found in your C drive under the user's name under App Data Microsoft Templates. I'm going to show you how you can browse that as well. Now, this is a template, so it's often hidden in this App Data folder. They don't want people just going in and messing with it. Again, we can show you how to access that, but I always caution people that if you're a little bit worried, you just want to save a copy of that normal template. And there is a way directly in Word that if it's not stored in the usual location, then Word itself will tell you where that's found. And we're going to go right into this, and I'm going to show you how you can find that normal template. So we're first going to look at the Word option. So if you just have Word open with a blank document, you go over to your File menu, you go all the way to the bottom under Options, and then we're going to go to Add-ins. And under the Add-ins option, you can see that there's a drop-down here to Manage, and we're going to select Templates and then Go. Now this is if you want to add any new templates, but you can see right here on this first tab, the document template that we're using for any default document, any blank document, is normal. Now if we click the Attach button, it's actually going to open this up and we can see where this document is located. So if we just scroll back, we can just see the full path of that. Users, this is my demo account for Katie Jordan, App Data, Roaming, Microsoft Templates, and I can then browse to that location. So if for some reason this is the standard location where this file is normally placed, I haven't seen it live anywhere else since probably Office 2003, but for some reason if it's not there, you can always go to your templates and add-ins and find the location that way. Now again, this is a template, and if we expand this, you can see it's a Microsoft enabled template. So they do hide it because they don't want you really messing with it. But you know, sometimes those font choices and those margins that Microsoft makes aren't really going to work for us, and we need to update our own templates. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to open up an Explorer window where you can see that I've already browsed to it. So I'm on my C drive, under my users, Katie Jordan, my demo account, and this is where I should find that App Data folder. But you can see it's not showing up. And the reason for this is because, again, it's a hidden file. So up on our menu, if we go to the View menu, we can check the box for hidden items, and then right away we can see our one hidden folder. And I even like to show the file name extensions. That's just something I like to work with, so I know before I click what kind of file I'm opening. So if I open up that App Data folder, Roaming, Microsoft, and then all the way at the bottom, Templates, you can see there's my normal.dotm file, and that is the one file that controls every blank document in Word. So one thing that I strongly recommend before you come in and start making changes is to make a copy of this file. And we're going to do that a little bit later when we start showing you how to update your files. So right now I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to say copy. And I'm just going to paste it here, but if you see when I paste it, it's going to tell me, hey, there's another copy here, so it's going to give it its own name, normal-copy. On older versions of Office, and this is Windows 10, you would normally get an error box. So if you're working on an older Windows version, it would say, you can't paste this because a file exists with the same name. So the way around that is you come in, you rename normal to normal.old, and then you paste in the copy. So that's just, again, one of the workarounds. You can see with the newer version of Windows, it's doing that work for you. And this is just a fail-safe. Now, if I had come in and not made a copy and done a bunch of changes, I could just come in and delete this normal file, and any blank documents are still going to open with the default settings. So there's always a workaround for it. Don't be too scared in this one instance of modifying the template. So we're going to go back to my slide deck. And we're going to take at how you actually update to your own settings. So we know where the normal template lives now. And we know that this controls all those settings in a brand new blank document, which has a typical font setting of 1-inch margins. It used to be that the default font was Times New Roman. Now it's the new Calibri font that has been rolled out for several years here. But again, that may not fit your needs. If maybe you have a letterhead that you want to include on every blank document, or maybe you print on a certain paper stock and that has to be set, so those 1-inch margins are not going to work for you. Could be any number of reasons why you have to go in and make changes. And that's inefficient if you're opening a document and then spending a few minutes making changes every single time. We want to eliminate that and make you more efficient. So without even touching the normal template, there are settings in Office 2016 that you can come in and change. Those things include font, paragraph, layout, and design. So without even going to where the normal template lives, you can modify those. Now, some of the other settings, such as page color, page borders, headers, and footers, will never be set as default, so you would have to then go to the normal template. So we're going to take a quick look at those menu items where you can change them. So again, I have a brand new document open, standard 1-inch margins, standard style set. So this is, again, tied to that normal template. This is my built-in style set. And my design theme is Office. So the design theme controls the way colors look. You can see they give me several options here. So if I wanted to come in and instead of having the blues and grays, I want more red and yellow, and I go back to my home page, you can see my styles changed. But if I'm coming in here and I'm typing, and we know that this is not, the color schemes that we want to use. Maybe I have a document that we always put together, and this design theme is really not going to work for me. We need to make our own. So there's a few different settings that you can use. So we can see that for this particular design, which is Berlin, they have the font set for Trebuchet. Now if I expand this font menu, I can come in here and maybe I want to choose the default Microsoft font. Let me scroll up a little bit. There's actually several of them, but I'm just going to choose the default Microsoft font. And I don't have any idea how to pronounce that, so I'm going to leave it as is. And maybe we want our default font size to be 12. Now I can say OK, and this changes it for that document. Let's go back into that menu, and you'll see down here in the lower left corner is set as default. So this is the default font that I want to use. I can say set as default, and I'm going to get a pop-up. Do you want to set this for this document only or for all documents based on that normal template? And that's why I started off letting you know where the normal template lives. So in this case, we want to say every brand new document, I want this font to be used. So you can see it updated my font there, and I also updated my style just by making that selection. So again, we've got a page here. Maybe we want to make similar changes in our paragraph, so we can see that here in the paragraph, everything has before and after at 0, and then after at 8. Maybe I want that to be 6, and maybe I don't want multiple line spacing. I just want single line spacing. Again, I can come in here and make these changes just for this document and select OK, but I can also choose Set as Default, and it's going to give me a prompt again for this document or for all documents. I'm going to say All Documents and click OK. You can see my spacing changed very subtly there. I can go back to that and make another change if I wanted to, and Set as Default again and make that And I can keep tweaking this within the document itself without going to the normal template. Now, the other area, of course, is on the design itself. So we change the colors here, and we can see our themes. And then we can also see that we can save the current theme. And if we click that, again, this is saving the theme itself, so it's if you were to create a completely brand new one. But there's no option there to set it as default, so we're going to X out of that. Going to the other side of the design themes, again, you can see that these are all the colors, and these are the colors that tie into the themes. You can have the option to customize your colors. And again, we have a font choice, and they give you these pre-built font pairs and sometimes 3 sets of font. But you can see right here it says set as default. So I can come in here, make little tweaks, and then make this the default. And again, it's going to say the current style set as your default. It'll apply to all new blank documents. And we're going to go ahead and say yes. So I'm going to close this out. We've made a few changes. Let's make one more change. Let me go to the Layout tab. And on Page Setup, we have our default margins 1 inch across, which is pretty standard. I'm going to say we want those for whatever reason to be 2.5 inch margins on each page, which is something that would be really crazy, but maybe there's a use case out for it. And again, in the lower left-hand corner, I can just click OK to say for this document, but I want this as the default for all new documents. So I'm going to say yes. So we've made a few changes within the menu. We've changed the default font and paragraph. We set a default design, and we even came in and changed the margins. And each time we selected any new document, it's going to have this setting. So let me completely close out of Word. I'm not going to save this document because I was just using it to have something open. And I'm going to go back and open up Word again. Let's select a brand new blank document. And you can see right away that my margins are pretty wide. You can see that it saved those margins, it saved my font, it saved my spacing, and if I come over to design, it shows me that my design is saved as well. Now remember, this design had a different font set, so you want to be careful when you're changing the fonts that are different from the design and make sure, and this is why you can continue to tweak items. Now if I wanted to come back in and continue making changes each time, I can just say set as default for brand new documents. So this is a new thing that's worked its way into Word. They're trying to make it really, really easy to get your documents exactly the way you want them. Now there are some things that you won't be able to change that I mentioned. So I'm going to go back to the Design tab. If for some reason maybe we wanted to have a page color on all of these documents, this is not something that's going to save as default. You can see when I have the page color menu open, there's pretty much, no options. Even if I click into more colors, there's nothing here that says save as default. And that's a situation where you would have to go to the normal template and make that change directly within the template. Page color isn't something that we normally see, on a default template. We want everything blank. The same with page borders. We wanted to give an actual page border to this. You can see it says apply to whole document, and then I have sections. And even if I click into the options menu, there's nothing here that says make this default for every document. It would be specific to this document. So those are the little areas where you would need to go back to the actual template and make those changes. So again, pretty easy to come in and start making edits to your document and make sure. So if you open up a document and every single time you change the font and every single time you change the margins, and maybe you're using styles, but you don't like the colors and you're changing those every time, you want to start making those little tweaks. So I'm going to open up a new document, but first we're going to go back to my slide deck. So this is where we get into creating your own design. So we saw how we can quickly go through them and make a few changes. We changed the font. We liked the red and gold for the Berlin design theme, but we didn't like the font. We changed the font. We changed the spacing on that. We wanted to update the margins, and all of that was set. But if none of those built-in designs or themes are working for you, then you have the option to go in and completely modify them and change your own. Now, one area that this got a little more difficult in Office 2016 for Word is in prior versions, directly within the Style menu, you have the option to save it as a new style set. That option has disappeared, And they're really pushing you to make those changes on the Design tab. So the Design tab is more, the style set is just fonts and spacing. The Design tab is the overall look of a document, everything from colors to fonts to themes, and that's where they're pushing you to make those changes now. So that's a slight change that may be frustrating to some people who have, invested a lot of time in working in styles. Again, that Design tab controls the overall colors of your documents, including if you add in any tables or shapes. So if you insert a table and it has banded rows, it's going to pull in the colors from your Design tab. So you may want to go in and customize those colors. So you already saw how we can update the default template with just a few clicks. We're going to take a quick look at creating your own design. I'm going to go back to Word. I'm going to take off this page color really quickly, since we know that doesn't carry over to the default document at all. I'm going to go back to my layout. I'm just going to change those margins back just so we have a little bit more space to work with. And I'll go ahead and change that back onto the default one as well. So if we just have some text in here, we can use on the home ribbon our styles. And styles are really, really powerful because instead of coming in here and highlighting a section of text and going bold and then maybe changing the font to red, maybe increasing the font and doing that throughout a document, we can create a style that does that for us in one click. So if I were to come over here and do a style option on my little pop-up, you can see create a style, and I'm just going to say demo style 1. And it's pulling that in directly from the text. Now I can come in here and click the modify button and I can fine-tune some items. Let me pull that up a little bit. You can see it's got my font, it's got the color. I can even come in here under the format button and maybe I want this one to have extra spacing around it, and maybe I don't want it left justified, maybe I want it centered. So you can still come in here and modify this quite a bit without going up to the style menu. Now here's the thing, I'm going to click OK on this, but you'll notice here's an option, only in this document or new documents based on this template. So if I'm doing this for one document, that's fine, but if we're working towards creating our normal template just the way we want to click that button, new documents based on this template. And here's the other button, automatically update. So if I change this in one document that I open, it's going to go back to that normal template. So I'm going to click OK. You can see it made those changes. And I can come in here and edit the text. But now you can see this is put on my styles menu. So I can come in here and let's add some more random text just so we have a document we can work with. And maybe there's another heading in here. And again, styles are designed to have one click to make the formatting changes that you want, which is why they're so powerful. So you can see within this built-in style menu, I've got heading 1, heading 2, and as I'm scrolling over those, it's giving me a preview for my font changes. Now, if most of these fonts fit pretty well with what I want to do, I can come in here, right-click, and say Modify, and update this specific style. Now, again, if we're going back to the normal template, we would want to make those 2 changes. But you can see maybe I come in here and I want to use my font again, and I can make that change and say OK. So you can really go through and modify each and every style, or you can create your brand new one. So on my demo style, maybe we have a letterhead and it has the exact fonts that we need to use according to my organization's branding guidelines. We can create brand new styles. I'm using demo style. I can put demo style heading, demo style heading 2, demo normal, demo, or whatever it is. You can sub out letterhead and create your own style set for that, and you can go down the line. But this is why styles are really, really powerful. You can come in here and just make one click and have the formatting done instead of going in and doing it directly by using the bold and the sizes. Styles are there to help you. Now this is a one-page document with some dummy text in it, but if I had a document that's, several pages long, or something that's even more likely in the legal world and the government world, several hundred pages long, no way do I want to go through that document and highlight and change a color and change a font every single time. I just want to come through and select a style button and have that change made. Now I'm going to show one other area why styles are important. So if we go to our view menu, we normally work in things with the print layout. Now if I switch to outline, you can see that my fonts are really, really standing out. So this is, again, another way, and you can see these scroll bars here. I can come in and choose to scroll through level 1, level 2. I can come in here and say, let's not show all of text, let's only show just the headings. So this is another reason why styles can be really, really important for you. If you have a document that is using styles properly, you're much more able to work with a document at a 20,000-foot view by coming in and using that outline view and only seeing your heading. So if you had a document that was 300 pages long, you wouldn't have to scroll through it. You could come in here at the outline view and just view the headings at level 1 or just view the subheadings at level 2. So styles are really, really powerful, especially useful when it comes to really long documents. They make it easier to create tables of contents, and then just the general formatting of the document itself. So again, really quickly, you can come in here, you can modify your styles, you can create completely brand new ones. It's really up to you how far you want to go into it when you format your documents, but you want to make sure that all of this makes it back to that normal template so you don't have to keep doing it over and over. So this is just working with the styles. Now if we come over to the design side, again, we can pick a theme that is pretty close to what we want, but then we also have the option over on colors to customize those colors. So again, if we have an organization that has the same kind of fonts and the same kind of color themes that they use, we can come in and customize colors. I'm just going to go in here and look at this menu, and again, we're going to just call it Demo Theme. And you can see that we can customize all of these different areas. So in this case, the hyperlink is orange and then a slightly peach color. If we wanted to come in here and make that really, really bright, we can do that. I don't know why you would want a hyperlink that's so light colored, but we can do that. So you can see all the different areas that you can modify within a brand new theme. And you can just go down the line and start editing these. If you wanted something that closely fit your org, you can start with one of the other design themes and then modify it. Now you can see you can always come back here and reset it. And then of course if you make your changes you can save it. So you find the one that's the closest for you. You can see that there's quite a few color ranges in here, and then customize those colors and tweak it and save it as a new one. And once you're done with that, you want to remember to set it as default so it makes it back to your normal .template. So let's come in here so we can see how the template's changing, and let's just pick one with maybe this really purple one. And if we come down here and customize the colors, we'll make the background text just a lighter gray, just really, really subtle changes. These are just a few of them. You can see it's really very, very purple on this theme. And I'm just going to call it, again, my demo theme, but this time I'm actually going to save it. And now that we've saved it, I'm going to say I'm going to set this as default, and again, I'm going to get that pop-up. So again, focus on your styles, because that's what a lot of people come in, is the styles will control the font settings, whether it's bold, whether it's a different color, centered, right, left, the spacing on the paragraph, all of that can be done within the styles. If it's completely normal for you to just come in and make small adjustments to maybe just the spacing, don't mess with the styles, just do the paragraph. And if you're looking further and you're controlling the themes within a document, come in here and customize the colors for your theme. You can see that the fonts are also available here, lots of different font pairs, but I did that back on the home ribbon with my fonts. But again, if you're looking at the font pairs, they do have choices there as well. You can also customize those. So once you've done all that, you know that the next time this document comes around, it has your settings. Now you can see when I went to the design theme and I picked a new color, I came back to my template and my headings changed. That's because the styles and the designs are working together. So the design theme really does control the whole document, which is a shift from prior versions of Word where it was more focused on the style set. Now you can see it didn't change that default style because that's one that I created brand new, so it's not really linked in with it. But maybe I want it that way. So again, creating your own, you just want to think through it, pay attention to your company's, if they have branding guidelines, if there's a letterhead that they use, that's where you want to work on. Or if maybe you have a specific person, your chain of organization that they have things a certain way, they like a certain font, that's what's going to affect it. So again, I'm going to close out of Word really, really quickly. We're not going to say this is just a random document. And I'm going to show you really quickly how you would edit this directly from the normal DOT template. But I'm going to go back to my slide deck very quickly just to make sure where things are moving along. Now, I showed you how to browse to the normal template. If you find that you have to come in and actually edit the normal template, first thing, make sure you make a copy of it. And then this is the thing. If I click this open, it just opened up a blank document, document 1 in Word. Now you can see I've got my style set in here. That's great. This isn't editing the normal template. If you want to actually edit the normal template, you need to find that file location and then right-click and say Open. Now when it opened, you notice that it's normal.dotm, so I'm editing this file directly. So let's go into the design and maybe let's add that page color that we had talked about. And we'll stick with our purple theme and just give it, a light blue background. So again, I'm editing the normal template directly. These are not settings that you can say set as default. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to give it, a nice 3D border. Again, not things that you would typically see. I'm just trying to demonstrate where you would make some of these changes. And I'm going to say OK. And again, now I've got a blue page with a border, and I'm just going to go back and save this file. And we'll close out of Word again, including our blank document. We don't really need to save that. Now let's go back and open up Word. We're going to open up a blank document. You can see that page color isn't there, but my border is there. This is one of the weird things about Word. Some things you can save and some things you can't. If for whatever reason you absolutely need that colored background, that may be the one thing that you still have to go in and do. But you can see all the other areas that we can now control. We can control our fonts, our paragraph settings, our margins, the colors that people are using when they type something. So you can see that there's a lot of level of control that you can give yourself, but there's still going to be certain things that it's not going to let you do. So again, I can come in here and select all of this content, and then just because I have my styles built in, quickly change the way it's viewed. This is why styles are so powerful. You don't want to come in here and just have to do this over and over every single time. So this is a quick look at how you can make these changes within Word, and then if you have to, how you can go back and directly edit that normal template. So again, remember, some things you're not ever going to be able to get it to save every single time, but for the most part, you can change a majority of the things that you're doing every single day. If you're updating the fonts and the margins every time, go in, change those items, and then click that Set as Default button. So just a couple of things. We already talked about creating your own design and how the design tab and the themes link in. But there's a few things to consider. So again, I've said multiple times, save a copy of the original normal.tom file. Now, I'm going to scroll through really quickly. If I delete that, I'm going to close out this Word document. You've seen all the changes that I made and how it modifies the template. I'm going to come into where my template is actually located, and I'm just going to delete that. So we know that there's no longer a normal template, and then I'm going to open up Word one more time and a blank document. Now, I deleted that normal template that I made all the changes to. It doesn't exist, but Word knows to still open up a blank document with the default settings. So you can see I'm back to my normal font, my 1-inch margins. You can see that I'm back to my design, which is the office theme. So if you really are playing around with this and you didn't make a copy of the normal template, don't worry about it. It's still there. Now, even though this document opened, I still don't get back a normal template in my file location. So you can always copy it from someone else or go in and save that blank document as a normal template. But again, it knows in the background there. So that's one thing, you can always go in and delete it and then just revert back to those original settings. Now here's the tricky part. If you create a normal template and you want everyone in your organization to use it, you may have to update that template on every single computer. So that's a little bit hairy to do. People who are pushing out Office applications, again, it depends on your organization. If you're doing individual installs and you're not using a management component to push out those installs, this may be something just to think about. You can always have one central source for templates, such as SharePoint, OneDrive location, or a file share, and then let users go and grab it as they need it. So you can have a letterhead.dotm, have a fax cover page.dotm. So that's another way around that. And again, remember, you really aren't going to be able to break that normal template. if in doubt, you go in and delete it, delete nothing else, and then it'll revert back to the normal settings. So design is something that they're really pushing with brand new versions of Office and Office 365. And one way that we can help you keep up to date on those changes is with our Help Desk as a Service Evolve 365. So this is a Planet Technology subscription-based service, and it's designed to help Microsoft Office 365 get additional end-user adoption. We have on-demand self-help videos. There's quite a few videos in our portal on Word and creating style sets and making those changes. We also have the availability to add on live support as well. Every single service has a dedicated Office 365 trusted advisor like myself, and it's something that we think can really help end users get through some of these hairy moments. So if you go to our site, we're not going to do a demo today, you can actually sign up for a free trial. That's freetrial.o365support.com. We do have some sample content on there, including that Word content about creating style sets, making default changes. You can view a little bit of the content. It is a trial site, so it has limited content. You know, our regular full root site has more than 25,000 videos, and most of those videos are 20 to 30 seconds long, so you're going to get the immediate help that you need. If you have any other questions, you can always visit our website, o365support.com, to learn more about Evolve 365, or send us an email at info@o365support.com. So since we're right at time, I see a couple people in the lobby, but no questions yet. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope this was helpful for some of those word problems that you find. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Thanks everyone for your time today. Have a great rest of the day.